And welcome to Your Vote Counts. John and Jason are back. Good to have you guys back. Smoke clears. This was a busy, crazy week. Was it good at the first half of this session? Are you happy?
Yeah, well, this was a deadline week, big week that comes up in the Oklahoma legislature. It's when all of bills have to get out of their chamber of origin. There's a lot of good stuff that took place this week. There was paid leave for state employees, paid leave for teachers. The Senate also codified birth control for Oklahoma citizens. I thought that was important. The House is working on some great criminal justice reform. There's plenty of what I would call culture wars that still kind of slip through the cracks, but my hope is that we're going to continue to focus on the things that are most important as we go forward.
All right, so Mr. Leader, you see the first half of the session is now in the rearview mirror. Are you happy?
I'm very happy. What happened in this session is exactly what I said was going to happen. We were going to come in as the Oklahoma House representatives. We were going to give you tax reform, and boy, did we deliver. We delivered 3 different options that we can give to the citizens of the state of Oklahoma, from grocery tax cuts to income tax cuts. We said we were going to fund education. That's exactly what we did. $500 million. It'd be the second biggest single investment in public education in the state's history. And we said we were going to empower parents. That's what we did. We passed a great Empowered School Choice program. There's tons of other great legislation that passed, but the big ticket items that we went in saying we were going to do, we delivered on. Now it's on to the second half of session, and we'll see what happens.
Okay, you know what they say, past is prologue, right? So with everything that's happened, we start looking forward for the next couple of months. What do you see happening?
So here's what happens next. The reality is everyone in the legislature gets their say as to what's going on. Now, as we move forward, the House is going to be considering Senate bills, and the Senate's going to be considering House bills. And there's also going to be a lot of negotiations going on behind the scenes. So how do we end up in, for example, tax reform? Well, it's the House's position, and I think we'll get there with the Senate, that the majority of the citizens of the state of Oklahoma deserve more money. We have $5 billion in savings. How much of your money do we need? We need to start giving it back to you. I think we're going to find a way to fund education and fully empower parents. We have the best in the nation reform, and that's what I think we're going to be able to deliver on. But those negotiations are starting now.
All right, so you've seen this story before, right? You see what's going on with between the House and the Senate, so there's some differences, right? But how do you see the next 2 months going?
Well, I'll agree with the floor leader. One of the most important things right now is we have more money than we've ever had before, especially after not getting the Volkswagen deal. There's another additional $700 million that's going back into the budget. And I think the legislature is really going to have to figure out, what are we going to spend on now, what are we going to save in the future, and what are we going to give back to the general public. That's going to be a real topic of discussion these last 2 months. There's definitely still going to continue to be policy discussion. I hope that we continue to see some criminal justice reform. We've got an awesome opportunity to move forward on that. But right now, a lot of that discussion is just going to come down to how are we going to spend money and what are we going to save.
Okay, speaking of criminal justice reform, we'll cover that when we come back in our next segment. Plus, yeah, we're going to be talking about weed. And welcome back. In this segment, we teased criminal justice reform. There's more of it. You guys have done a lot of this over the years. John, what's on tap?
Well, we passed some great bills out of the House. And again, what we've always said we're going to do in the House, we're going to try to help those that need help, but we're still going to punish those that need to be punished. One of the great bills that was passed is myself and Monroe Nichols' bipartisan bill, representing the Tulsa area, that gives police the authority with misdemeanor warrants to tell someone, hey, go take care of your deal so I don't have to take you to jail. If I see you again, I'm going to take you in. It's real common sense stuff like that that we need to continue to move forward. At the same time, we looked at maybe raising some things, for example, for larceny or for shoplifting. We're looking at maybe there are some other crimes that we need to get the punishment up higher. What we're trying to do is come up with a system that punishes those and protects us those that we're afraid of, but tries to add help and aid to those that are in a tough time and don't need to be in the incarceration system.
All right, so you've been doing this when you were in legislature for a long time. What do people need to understand about what is still happening?
Yeah, I think it was a really good start to work on the warrant issue. I'm glad that the floor leader and Representative Nichols have taken that up and moved that over to the Senate. There's some sentencing reform that's taking place right now, started in the House. Representative Osborne is moving that legislation. It just brings us in line with every other state around us and the way they sentence. We have a much longer sentencing for the exact same crimes that other states around us don't have. It keeps people in prison a lot longer than what they should be here in the state of Oklahoma. I think that is a good reform moving forward. And it was nice to see some of the 780 rollbacks that were taking place for those to get blocked or have title taken off of them. We don't need to go backwards at this point. We need to continue to move forward.
Okay. Last thing we want to talk about is that, with State Question 820 behind us, medical marijuana, we keep talking about the problems, but are we starting to finally clean this up?
Yeah, I mean, the real hope is that we're starting to finally clean this up. There's still a lot of issues that surround the medical marijuana issue here. The recreational question obviously failed and failed in a big way. I think the people have spoken on this. They're okay with medical marijuana. They want to be very cautious about going forward. Again, it's good to see that the state's attorney general has been very supportive of what the legislature is trying to do as far as cleaning up a lot of the bad players when it comes to marijuana. I think we need to continue to look at testing, make sure that what people are using, what products are on the shelves in the state of Oklahoma are safe products for those that are using it as medicine. We do that, we clean up some of these illegal grows, and I think we're going to be moving in the right direction.
And Mr. Leader, you're working on this. Are we going to get this thing cleaned up?
Man, this has been the best session we've had working on this. Attorney General Gittner Drummond has been working very closely with my office. We're working hand in glove, and we've got some great bills passed through. One of the things we're doing is giving the Attorney General's office more ability to enforce it. And here's what this enforcement about. If you are legally doing business in the market, in the medical market, it's a legal business, you deserve support, we want you to be able to do it. But I've said this over and over again. If you're in the black market, if you're cheating, if you're breaking the rules, we are coming after you. And we spent this session, my bill made OMMA, the Medical Marijuana Authority, a standalone agency, and then we spent this session giving more teeth into that, going after straw purchasers, going after people who are cheating in the system, and giving more enforcement authority. It's been a great year for it. We listened to the will of the people. They said they wanted medical, they don't want rec, and they want the system cleaned up. We're on our way to doing it.
All right, thanks for that. Appreciate you guys. And thanks for watching your Vote By the way, happy anniversary to our biggest fans, my mom and dad, number 70, the last Democrat A&B chief, and my wife, Candace, right there on the right. Love you, sweetheart.
That looks
See
awesome.
this again at news9.com/YourVoteCounts, and follow me on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, @Mitchell Talks.